What's your name? What's your name?
Don Porterfield. You may remember me, you may not. 1980s, long ago.
Where did we meet?
With when Ugresh was here.
Oh yeah.
Long.
I was at GBC here at that time.
Yeah, you're at GBC. Yeah.
That's for the church building.
78. Oh yeah, when we were before the church at
Where?
at Harrison Street. Yeah.
Oh, you were there at that time?
Yeah, 40 years ago.
Now you come regularly?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. We'll talk later. John, my memory is not so good. He recalls that we met in which year? 1980. Which year was that? In Seattle. At that time I was at GBC in Seattle. I'm still in Canada. We had where was that building? A temple?
Before that, it was a house.
Yes, I remember. Ugresh was the president.
Yeah, Udamanu was there before. And he left, and then he brought Ugresh.
And then after Ugresh we had some more. I remember when we had a temple there, a reporter came to interview me, and I criticized gays. And so the next day, they had a big article, our Krishna leader criticized the gays. Hare Krishna. So you're happy to be here? Maybe I can sit a little closer.
Come closer, please.
So today they have prasad distribution. It's finished? Ravilas told me after 8:30. Where do they do prasad distribution? Okay. Jai Radha Lava Kunja Bihar Kartal Jai Radha Lava Kunja Bihar Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradha Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamna Tira Vanachari Jamna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jabihari Jai Radha Madhava Jabihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jabihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamna Tira Vanachari Jamna Tira Vanachari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dada Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Radha Nil Madhav Radha, Madhav Radha. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Prabhupada Jwayanga Shula Avechan Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Shri Shri Radha Neel Madhav ki Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Jagannath Chupshoda Balam ki All glory Shri Samaduri All glory Samaduri All glory Samaduri All glory Shri Guru and Shri Ganga. The table. You know, Thakur. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the program this evening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnantimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurmidana Shri Chaitanya Manavestam Sabitam Yena Bhuta Swayam Rupa. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the program this evening. How many of you were here? Did you all have a class on Thakur Bhakti Vinod's Parents' Day? Full class. I was planning on speaking a bit about Thakur Bhakti Vinod.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, Prabhupada said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was virtually the founder of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it was he who re-established the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had fallen in wrong hands, and at that time it was embarrassing to be called a Vaishnava. There was a lot of sahajapan taking place. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur re-established the pure teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he had appeared in 1838 in a very opulent family. He was very well educated, especially in English, and as a result, he had obtained a very high position with the government. During the British rule, the highest position an Indian could hold was that of a magistrate. That was the highest position. And he was given that position. And of course there's a lot to say. I'm just mentioning some key points because I want to discuss something that he wrote in the Sharanagati. So the British government gave him many assignments, especially with regards to religious activities. For example, at that time, there were a lot of discrepancies in the Jagannath Puri temple with regards to offerings and financial dealings. And the king of Puri, or the king, the local king, was involved in financial embezzlement to the tune of 8,000 rupees. At that time, 8,000 rupees. Today it's probably 10 times, 20 times more. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked the king to pay back the money, and the king had hired some tantrics to kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And instead, on the final day of the yajna, his own son died. And so he corrected these discrepancies. And at that time, there was an impostor who was pretending to be an incarnation of Vishnu. This impostor was flirting with people's wives, sisters, daughters. And many people complained to the Britishers. He had mystic powers, and especially the Hindu policemen were all scared of touching him. So the British government assigned this task to Thakur Bhaktivinoda, and he went over there with a small group of Muslim policemen. He took the Muslim policemen with him, but the Hindu policemen were too scared to touch him. He had very powerful, he had great power. So when they went to the village, to the forest, this man knew who has come. So that, so he said, Kedarnath Datta, I know why you're here. You don't know who I am. I'm going to drive the Britishers out and be the Governor General of India and give you an important post. Thakur Bhaktivinoda said, if you are the incarnation of Mahavishnu, why don't you reside in the Jagannath Puri temple? And he responded by saying, that Jagannath just made of wood. That's not God. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this man arrested. And after his arrest, there were a lot of protests, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur refused to budge. And his whole family, or many members of his family, fell sick. And the whole town started talking. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur has imprisoned God, he's being punished. And several people were pleading, please release him. But he refused to budge. And on the day the judgment was to be written, at that time there were no dictaphones or secretaries. The judge had to write down the verdict himself. On the day he was supposed to write the verdict, his right hand, his whole right side was paralyzed. He couldn't move. But he was still determined. And finally he wrote the judgment, sentenced him to 18 months in prison, and eventually he committed suicide. So he corrected many of the discrepancies that were there, and one of his major achievements was he identified the actual birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur did a lot of research. He wasn't satisfied. He couldn't accept the fact that Navadvip, which was a town only about 100 years old, could be the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And for commercial reasons, people were attached to that idea. So he could never accept that. And so he did a lot of research. He requested the British government to transfer him to Krishna Nagar. he collected all the maps of that area. And in one he found one old map in which the word Mayapur was mentioned. He investigated further and he found this was the actual birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was convinced, but he wanted to be convinced. He wanted this to be confirmed by other Vaishnavas. His Siksha Guru was Jagannath Babaji. He took Jagannath Babaji. Jagannath Babaji used to be carried on a basket. He was about 144 years of age, and he was carried in a basket and taken to the very location which Thakur Bhaktivinoda had identified. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jagannath Babaji was brought to that location. He jumped out of his basket, started dancing and chanting, said, "This is it, this is it, this is it." This was his major contribution. He wrote nearly 100 books on the science of devotion in Oriya, Bangla and English. And he had predicted that very soon a powerful general will come who will take Lord Chaitanya's teachings to the Western countries. And that powerful Maharathi was whom? Vaishnava Prabhupada. And he had prayed, please may the Lord send a successor who can carry on the movement after his departure. And in response to the prayer, the Lord sent Ray of Vishnu, namely Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So we have a great debt to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And in his judicial work, he was very, very fast. It is said that he would finish a case in hours what would take the other judges days and weeks. He was so fast. And he wrote these books. And in 1896, he had written a book on the life of Chaitanya. And he sent that book to universities around the world. It was he had that vision that Krishna consciousness should be taken to every corner of the globe. He knew that Lord Chaitanya's prediction will come true. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda had many wonderful writings, and he gave us Sharanagati. Sharanagati means what? To surrender. Of course, not far from Vancouver, we have a farm called Sharanagati also. But Sharanagati means to surrender to whom? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes the process of Sharanagati while teaching Sanatana Goswami. Rupa and Sanatana were both at one time serving under the powerful Nawab of Bengal. 500 years ago, the richest kingdom in India, the richest kingdom in the world was India. And the richest part of India was the kingdom of Bengal. So these two were serving in that kingdom. But their heart was not there. So first Rupa Goswami resigned. And when he resigned from government service, he had so many gold coins that the whole boat was full. And he distributed that in a very exemplary manner. He gave half to whom? To the Brahmanas. 25% he gave to his relatives. And the balance he kept for future emergencies, which was used to free Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami also later followed by resigning from the government. Initially, Sanatana Goswami said, "I am not well," and he didn't go to office for a month. The king was very dependent on these two brothers, and one had resigned, so he became even more dependent on the other. And the king wanted to go and conquer the kingdom of Orissa. So the king sent his doctor to go and see what's wrong. And when the doctor came, these days if somebody wants to come to your house, he rings the bell and you verify the identity before allowing him. He did the same with the telephones. But these facilities were not there those days. So the doctor came in, he saw that Sanatan was accompanied by nearly 30 Brahmins, and they were engaged in what? Studying the Bhagavatam. So he went back to the king and said, "Sir, Sanatan's completely healthy. He was studying the Bhagavatam along with other Brahmanas." So the king personally came to Sanatan's house. And Sanatan, even though the king was of nature, he offered respects to the king. And the king said, "You better resume your duties. I have to leave." But Sanatan's heart was not in continuing with the government assignment. So Sanatan refused, and as a result he was imprisoned. And Sanatan told the prisoner, told the jail supervisor, "Please release me. I want to go to Mecca." But the prison supervisor said, "How can I release you? You're a famous man. If I release you, the king will take me to task." Anyway, Sanatan was able to escape. How exactly he escaped is too confidential to discuss in a big assembly. But he escaped. And finally, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Sanatana Goswami instructions for the process of Sharanagati. What did he say? Accept what is, what, fill in the blanks. Accept what is favorable for spiritual advancement. Rupa Goswami gave us many wonderful books. Prabhupada translated two of them, Sri Updesharamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So in the Updesharamrita, Rupa Goswami tells us what is conducive, what is detrimental. Utsahanesha dharyat, tatar karma pravatanat, sangatyage satavrate, sadvi bhakti prasadati. So we accept what is favorable and we reject what is unfavorable, just like in our regular lives. Everyone is health conscious these days. Do you eat any food that comes your way? No. You want to read the packaging. You want to make sure it's conducive. So similarly, we should constantly endeavor to see, is this activity, is this endeavor conducive for spiritual advancement or not? And he said, reject what is unfavorable. Rupa Goswami on this point says, my dear friend, whatever price you have to pay, pay the price, but do not give up the opportunity to advance spiritually. In other words, to be Krishna conscious, we have to make sacrifices and adjustments. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You know the English phrase. There's a nice cake with nice icing. You don't feel like touching it. But at the same time, your mouth, saliva is pouring out. You want to eat, taste it also. So if you want spiritual life, obviously you have to give up what is detrimental. So therefore Lord Chaitanya said, give up what is detrimental. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda had many wonderful writings. And one of his compilation is called Sharanagati. And in Sharanagati, in the following two paragraphs that we are going to read, he very nicely summarizes the mood that we should have on the spiritual path. And if we cultivate this mood, there's no question you can make advancement. You want to hear that? He says, you should always absorb your mind in attentively chanting Krishna's glories. So, Thakur Bhaktivinoda makes the point. Absorb your mind in attentively chanting Krishna's glories. And we chant Krishna's glories by chanting the Mahamantra. So the holy name can be chanted in any situation. The three stages of chanting the holy name. The offensive stage, the stage of minimizing offenses, and the Shuddha Sadhaka, very first stage. You know, when Prabhupada went to India in 1971 with his Western disciples, at that time 99% of our devotees were Western. And they had big pandals in India, and Bombay, Delhi, Madras. And huge crowds would come, 35,000 people a day. So at that time, there was a movie star in India, who is no more. He made a movie called Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And the movie was a big hit in India. Some of you may have seen it, I don't know. Anyway, the movie was a big hit. The good thing in the movie was it had the Mahamantra in the background and a song that became a big hit. But the downside was it completely misrepresented our philosophy. It showed that people take drugs and then feel high and chant Hare Krishna. So many devotees were complaining or thinking of going to the court. Take this movie star to court. He's completely misrepresenting us. And I also spoke to Prabhupada, this is going to give us a bad name. Prabhupada said, nothing will be lost. People will hear the holy name and they'll benefit. So about 2 years ago, I had initiated one devotee in America. And I just asked him, how did you become a devotee? Which I often ask people, you know, how did you join? So he said, when he was a young kid, he saw a movie called Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And then he heard the Mahamantra. And he got so attached to the Mahamantra that whenever he would hear that song, he would just sit down and he said, I would go to the Panwala shops and all the shops requesting them just play that song. So he got introduced through that movie to the Mahamantra. He was so attached to the Mahamantra. There were some lapses. But then he came to America to do his PhD. And then he came in contact with ISKCON temple. And his childhood memory flashed back and became a devotee. But the introduction came when he was exposed to the movie. So the point is the holy name is beneficial in every situation. You chant attentively or inattentively. Here Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, absorb your mind and attentively chanting Krishna's glory. So this point is mentioned again and again. In the Updesharamrita, in the 7th verse, Rupa Goswami says that the holy name is sweet and the pastimes of the Lord are sweet. But because the tongue is afflicted with avidya, we can't taste the sweetness of the holy name. But if we consciously chant attentively, then the disease can be cured. So this summary is, We should absorb our mind in attentively chanting the holy name. Sometimes people say, I've been chanting the holy name for such a long time, but I find my anarthas are still there. And why am I not making advancement? The fault is not in the medicine. The fault is in the patient. The patient is not chanting properly. So Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, absorb your mind in attentively chanting. By performing Krishna Kirtan, you will gain mastery of the mind. The mind, as we know, is it troublesome or not? Is it? Small degree or big degree? Okay, we all know the nature of the mind. Fickle and very fickle. More difficult to control than the wind. Obstinate. So, Krishna says in the 6th chapter, win over the mind. One who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. So, how do we gain mastery? Bhaktisiddhanta used to say, every morning when you get up, take a shoe and beat your head 100 times. In other words, tell you about my mind, I'm not going to listen to you. And every night when you go to sleep, take a broom and do the same exercise. So, Thakur Bhaktivinoda gives us a solution. Krishna's Kirtan. So this chanting the holy name is the cure to all our problems. Many times people want to know, I want to cultivate these qualities. What is the solution? The solution is given in these 2 points by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Attentively chanting the holy name. It can help you also control the mind. The mind, as we know, is fickle. The mind controlled is the best of friends. Samang Mana Krishna, Dharavindayo. And the uncontrolled mind is the worst of enemies. Now, if we control the mind, lead a regulated life, then the mind can be the best of friends. Today, for example, in society, you see depression, tension, stress are very common. Very common. If you go to a psychiatrist and talk, they'll tell you they're fully booked up for 6 months. There's so many people with mental problems. Why do we have these mental problems? We have these mental problems because we can't control our mind. We have a wish list. We want honor. We want so many facilities. And when you can't get it realized, then you get into depression. So, we must control the mind to the spiritual process. Give up all false pride. So that's a major challenge. Give up false pride. We all are proud. We have pride. I'm so good. I'm so great. I have special abilities. He says, give up false pride. Then, always think yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, more humble in the street. So this is very similar to Lord Chaitanya's message in the 3rd verse of the 6th Ashtaka. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his followers to write books on the science of devotion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent these 2 brothers to Vrindavan with the following agenda. Write books on devotional service, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had personally instructed Rupa and Sanatan on the process. Then to identify places where the Lord had performed his pastimes. And then to, who knows? To build temples. The 3 points. Write books on devotional service, identify places with the Lord, perform as pastime. Now when you go to Vrindavan, it's very easy. Oh, this Leela was done here, Damodar Leela was done here. Well, that is due to the great homework done by the Goswamis. The Goswamis undertook this assignment, identified places where the Lord performed his pastime, and to construct temples. Many of the temples in India were destroyed, and many of these temples were built on the inspiration and guidance of the Goswamis of Vrindavan. So, but Lord Chaitanya himself gave us only 8 verses that we identify as the Goswami. But if you carefully study these 8 verses, you will see that it summarizes the entire Vedic philosophy. Everything we need to know to go back to Godhead is explained in these verses. And what we just read is summarized in the 3rd verse of the Shastaka, which is Siddhadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sashuna Amanana Manarena Ketanari Sadari. If we want to be in a position that we chant the holy names, how many people in the audience here would like to be in a position they chant the holy name all the time? Almost everyone. So, Lord Chaitanya gives us this guideline, and it's repeated by Thakur Bhaktivinoda. He says, think yourself to be destitute, more humble than a straw in the street. Everyone steps on the straw doesn't retaliate. So the devotional path, we have to face many challenges, difficulties. We should not get discouraged. If you read the Bhagavatam, 7th canto, you see the challenges that Prahlad had to undergo. So, look at Prabhupada's own life. Prabhupada endeavored so hard to realize his Guru's order. At one time, he had translated the whole Bhagavatam, the whole Bhagavad Gita, and he was looking for someone to finance the printing. With great difficulty, he found someone who showed some interest. And then when he went back to get the manuscript, he discovered it had been sold. In India they sell old paper. They call it radhi. And it was sold. So what did he do? He retranslated. He was doing his work on an old typewriter. Before Prabhupada went to the West, he published the first canto in 3 volumes. And after he published the first canto in 3 volumes, he felt that now he had the necessary ammunition to preach in the Western world. But to publish these 3 volumes was not easy. He needed funding for his first canto part 2. And someone told him, go to Bombay. There's a pious lady called Srimati Maharaj. When Prabhupada went to see her, the secretary said, sorry, she's too busy. So Prabhupada knew that in the evening when she leaves the office, this is the only passage through which she can go out. So he sat on the staircase for 5 hours chanting. And in the evening when she was going, she saw Prabhupada's head. She asked her secretary, who is this Swamiji? He said, oh, he's come from Vrindavan again. But just see, for 5 hours sitting on the staircase, hoping to meet somebody who may help. And the next day Prabhupada met her again, and she agreed upon it. So in Prabhupada's life we see how he struggled. I mean, he struggled for years and years. And even when he went to the West, he struggled. But he never got discouraged. He went on endeavoring. So similarly, on the devotional path, we also have to keep endeavoring and not get scared of challenges. In fact, on one occasion, Prabhupada at that time wasn't too well, and at that time we had a big, tall building on 55th Street in New York. I think it was a 6-7-story building. So Prabhupada was coming down the elevator, and devotees were telling Prabhupada, please go and take rest. He wasn't feeling so well. Prabhupada said, please don't take away my privilege to struggle for Krishna. So that's the mood that we should have. To struggle for Krishna is a privilege. To accept the challenge on the path of devotional service is a privilege. And if we remain determined, Krishna helps. Prabhupada used to say, you take one step towards Krishna, he will take how many steps? 10 steps towards you. You take one step towards Krishna, Krishna will take 10 steps towards you. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those who worship me with devotion, I preserve what they have and I make up what they lack. So it's obvious we lack a lot of abilities and skills. When Krishna sees, here is someone who is determined to stay on this path, then he comes to our rescue. So then further Thakur Krishna says, practice forgiveness like the tree. The tree is very forgiving. A devotee should be forgiving. In material society they say, tit for tat. In Hindi they say, naila pedela. Tit for tat. You do this, I'm going to retaliate. In Russia they say, zuba zub. So that's not a spiritualist mood. Our mood is to practice forgiveness. We see the mood that Yudhishthira Maharaj had after the battle of Kurukshetra. He was so sympathetic to his uncle, who had lost everyone, and he offered him a royal palace to live in. He didn't say, now I'm going to take action. You all try to poison us, kill us. No, I have the power. So a devotee should be very forgiving. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, forgiving like the tree. Give up all violence towards other living beings. You should maintain them. Further he says, give up all violence. We see in the Bhagavatam 5th canto, Jad Bharat was requested to carry the palanquin of the king, King Raghunatha, who was headed to hear a spiritual discourse. So the other palanquin carriers had Sudra mentality. They didn't care who was on the ground, but Jad Bharat would not place his feet on the ground till he made sure that there was no living entity, because he didn't want to hurt anyone. As a result, the speed of the palanquin slowed down, and the king started chastising all those who were carrying him. The other carrier said, sir, it's not our fault. It's this new man that we added to our team who is slowing us down. And the king chastised Jad Bharat. But he initially tolerated it. But then when he spoke, the king realized, oh, this man's a great sage. He appears to be self-realized. He got down from his palanquin. offered obeisances to the king, to Jadvarat, begged forgiveness. And he went on to say, I'm not scared of Indra's palanquin, but I'm scared of offending a what? Scared of offending what? A Vaishnava. He didn't want to commit Vaishnava aparadha. So, Thakur says, practice forgiveness. Give up all violence. Throughout your life, you should never give anxiety to others. Good advice, no? Don't be a source of anxiety to others. Normally, we don't care what happens to our neighbor, as long as we get what we want. He says, don't be a source of anxiety. Don't mold your life in such a way that you give trouble to others. Do good to them, make them happy, and forget about your own happiness. Normally, we do the opposite. Am I right? Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, do good to them, make them happy. But our approach is, we want to make ourselves happy. Why should I do good to them? I should do good to myself. And forget about your own happiness. And most people, what do? Do they really worry about others' happiness? Do they? No. A devotee is paradukha dukhi. He cares for everyone's happiness. Therefore he endeavors to give them spiritual knowledge. Therefore he preaches. So, Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, do good to them. So the various ways how we can do good. One way is distribute prasad, like you did today in Seattle. Another way is to give transcendental knowledge, which we do through the medium of book distribution. Many times devotees don't understand the significance of book distribution. Why did Prabhupada encourage book distribution? Why did Prabhupada endeavor so hard to write these books? Only because of one reason. He wanted society to be happy. In Prabhupada's last days on the planet, he was still translating. There was a time when he could barely sit, barely speak, and barely hold any Bhagavatam. But in spite of these odds, he persisted and translated. We were talking about Thakur Bhaktivinoda. Thakur Bhaktivinoda was out of, after 24 hours, take rest for 3 hours only. Thakur Bhaktivinoda would get up at 11 o'clock in the night and translate till 4 in the morning. And Srila Prabhupada did exactly the same thing. Prabhupada used to get up in the night while the materialist was snoring. Prabhupada was busy translating the Bhagavatam. Why? Only because he wanted everyone to read his books and be happy. So we should take every opportunity to study these books and to make others read these books. So he's saying, make people happy. So how can we make people happy? People are hoping that some material endeavor will make me happy. What did Prahlad Maharaj say in 7th canto on this point? Who knows? Nata vidum sparta gatim Vishnu. People do not know how real happiness can be found. They do not know, but devotees know. Devotees know that even if you become a billionaire, that's not going to give you real happiness. There's so many cases of rich people committing suicide. In fact, the suicide rate in the developed world is increasing very sharply. So it's not that people commit suicide only due to poverty. So if you want real happiness, what's the solution? give them spiritual knowledge. We should cultivate spiritual knowledge and give others spiritual knowledge. That will make others happy, and make us happy. And if we try to do any other means, there never will be real happiness. Just like in these, some of you may know, there's a telephone company in India, Reliance, that sells telephone plans. So one of their plans is they give you access to, I think, hundreds or thousands of movies, 1 crore movie songs, and whatnot. And people think they're getting a great deal. But that's not going to make them happy. If you want real happiness, take to the chanting. But then Thakur Bhaktivinoda says, give up desire for fame and honor. That's a hard one. Give up desire for fame and honor. Normally, all our actions are motivated by our desire to have fame and honor. But on the spiritual path, you may aspire to have this on the material path. Yesterday I was in Boise, and the executive vice president of the leading company, they came to see me. So one of the questions he asked me was, if I be Krishna conscious, can I maintain ambition? I want to get to the top. I am sure you can do that if your goal is to please Krishna. So the point is, materially we may desire fame or success. That's okay. It's nice to see devotees progress in the material world also. But spiritually, a desire should not be, if I do some service in the temple, I must get so much recognition. And if I don't get so much recognition, then what's the use of this service? I work so hard, so many weeks, so many months, so many years, and that's all I get in exchange. We forget that Krishna has recorded everything, and Krishna is aware. So, give up the desire for respect and honor. You read that story of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was ordered in a dream to go to Jagannath Puri to get Chandan. So he came to Ramana, where they have this historical temple. So he had a desire to taste sweet rice. But he manifested that desire while the offering was going on. Anyway, he felt embarrassed that he desired to taste it while the offering was going on. And he left the temple and went to the market to do his japa. The Lord stole sweet rice and told and ordered the pujari to take the sweet rice to the pujari at this location. So when the pujari was surprised. The Lord stole sweet rice, how is that possible? Anyway, he went and he found it was true. So he proceeded to the market to find Madhavendra Puri. And when he told them, the Lord stole the sweet rice for your pleasure, Madhavendra Puri was in ecstasy. He was really in ecstasy. But he was concerned that too many people may chase him to glorify him that he was such a great devotee. So he wanted to avoid being glorified. He wanted to avoid being honored. He wanted to avoid to become famous. So what did he do? He left Ramana and went to Jagannath Puri to escape the laurels. So that should be our mood. Not that I'm on the devotional path, but I want fame and glory. So anyway, these are just some of the points mentioned by Thakur Bhaktivinoda in the Sharanagati. As we said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to translate for 4 to 5 hours every day. Every day. His total rest period was 3 hours. Raghunath Goswami wouldn't even sleep for 1 hour. So I find these points very valuable for devotees who want to make spiritual progress. And this is emanating from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing. So we should endeavor to cultivate these points, and devotees all over the world have the same questions. And one question the devotees often ask: how can I make spiritual advancement? How can I cultivate the 26 qualities of a devotee? How can I develop determination? So all that can be determined if we follow the advice given in these two paragraphs. And it begins with attentive chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So this is our prime duty. Often devotees want to know, what can I do to please you? And I say, let's chant the holy name attentively. So we should endeavor in this direction. And if we sincerely endeavor, Krishna will help us. We may have so many shortcomings, we may have so many weaknesses, but if we're sincerely trying, Krishna will help. So I thought that by reading Thakur Bhaktivinoda's part of his contribution, most of the bhajans we sing are composed by Thakur Bhaktivinoda, and his writings are very, very powerful. So we should take advantage of his writings, take advantage of these suggestions in Sharanagati, and by making an endeavor, we'll be able to make spiritual advancement. But the foundation is Sharanam Kirtanam. Sharanam Kirtanam is the foundation. If we concentrate on this important activity, then we should be able to make spiritual advancement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I could leave some time for questions if you all have. Any questions and comments? Have you all heard this before? How many of you heard this before? No one. This is in Sharanagati. Okay, any questions? No questions?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
How to give up the desire for fame and recognition while doing the service?
The solution is very simple. The root cause of our material desires, which includes name and fame, is not giving good sadhana, not chanting attentively, etc. And the cure for all our problems is good sadhana and chanting the holy name. If we chant the holy names, study the books. Studying the books also is very important. Because in the books, you read about these points again and again. Isn't it? Everything we said, everything we spoke is there in Prabhupada's books. And when you read these books, Krishna sees, here is someone trying to understand me. Let me give him the understanding. So, Shravana and Kirtanam is the foundation. Attentive chanting and reading. That will help us in saving ourselves from the influence of these anarthas. There is, and sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha is also very important, because sadhu sangha helps us to be constantly reminded what is right, what is wrong. There is no shortcut. The path is clearly defined. Any more questions? Yes. I thought you all may have some questions. So
Hare Krishna. What are your suggestions for if somebody is aware that they're inattentively chanting their japa? What are your suggestions?
Could you please repeat your question again?
So if you're chanting your japa daily, but you're aware that you're chanting inattentively?
My suggestion is we should try to improve. In America, you have this car rental company, Hertz. They have a slogan, we try harder. So similarly on the spiritual path, you have to keep endeavoring if you want the results. And just like in a material situation, if you want to get to the top, if you want admission in a good school, you have to work hard, isn't it? So similarly on the spiritual path, we are very fortunate in that we have literature and saints to guide us. And especially in ISKCON you live in an environment, we have ample opportunity to associate and hear various sadhus. So by hearing, we get reminded as to what's right, what's wrong. And then we should make an effort. At least one effort can be that when you sit down to do your prescribed rounds, make this your only activity. Not that you're engaged in multiple activities. And that will help you a lot. And we should recognize God is the most respected person. Krishna, when you stand in a material situation, if you're next to someone elderly, you're attentive, isn't it? So similarly, the holy name is not different from the Lord. So when we recite the holy name, we should be very receptive, very respectful. And being respectful means focusing on the holy name. And of course, as I said, the important thing is to chant. We need to get started into chanting. Just like when Prabhupada first started ISKCON in America, he didn't give devotees all these rules and regulations. He told them, just start chanting. The devotees started chanting, and as they chanted, their heart began to get cleansed. So one day they came to Prabhupada and said, Swami, don't you want us to follow some rules? And then the Swami said, yeah, this is what I was waiting for, when he would come and ask me. So as we chant and read, they all have a cumulative effect and help us to advance spiritually. Okay? Any more questions? Yes.
In seventh canto, Hiranyakashipu gave spiritual instructions, and each text of Srimad Bhagavatam is perfect. And how it possible that demon give spiritual instructions?
He gave spiritual instructions to his sister-in-law and nephews when they were crying because Hiranyakashipu was killed. If you did a survey, most people would say, oh, he was a powerful demon. But if you read the Bhagavatam, you see that at heart he was a great devotee. He was very learned. In the fourth canto you read, in the Bhagavatam you read that when the Kumaras entered the spiritual world, they got such great pleasure that they were racing towards getting an audience with the Lord. And they were stopped on the seventh gate. So anyway, Hiranyakashipu and his brother, they were at one time the doorkeepers of the Lord. You follow? And the Lord heard the conversation which was going on between the doorkeepers and the Kumaras. And when the Kumaras saw the intimate relationship, they wanted to withdraw their curse. Well, the Lord said, "No, I'm planning on descending. I wanted you to curse them." So the summary is, they were not demons, but playing the role of demons. For example, Hiranyakashipu stood on his toes, his hands raised to the sky for 100 celestial years. No demon could do that. You ask Ramdev to do that, you can survive for half an hour the most. But Hiranyakashipu was not an ordinary demon. He was a devotee at heart. So he knew the philosophy. So when his sister-in-law and nephews were crying, he gave them the story, how this human life is temporary. Okay? Okay. Any more questions?
Hare Krishna. Karmanyavadikarasya mahaphaleshu kadachana. How relevant it is in the materialistic world like
How?
today? Is it relevant in this materialistic?
Everything in the Bhagavad Gita is as relevant as it was 5,000 years ago, and it will be relevant for the next 10,000 years. Krishna says, "Do your duty but offer the results to me." That means, suppose you're earning some money. You don't think, this is due to my efforts. You recognize it's due to Krishna's mercy and effort and blessing. And from the results, share your results with Krishna. Offer a certain percentage for propagating Krishna consciousness. Not that karmanyavadikaraste mahaphaleshu, or that we eat up and don't offer anything to Krishna. So we should offer the results of our effort to Krishna. If you have some ability, use it to serve the Lord. If you have some skill, use it to serve the Lord. If you're deriving some income, share it with the Lord. We don't say give everything to the Lord and you go on the welfare system. We don't say that. We say share it with the Lord. And you can share it in proportion to what you can really afford. Krishna does say in the Gita, patram, puspam, what else? Phalam toham. So you can even offer me a leaf, or a fruit or flower, and I will accept it. But this doesn't mean that I eat on a silver plate and I give Krishna patram puspam. You follow? So we must offer the results. Just like in the material world, if we don't pay income tax, the IRS goes after you. So if you don't pay a spiritual tax, then you take on all the karma involved in earning that money. Okay? You come to the temple regularly? Which city? We have a temple in Belgaum.
Yes, you have. I regularly go there.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you should offer your results to the local temple. Okay, any more questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Goswami ji. My question is, so I was blessed to receive Bhagavad Gita from one of my cousins who is a devotee to Lord Krishna. So my question is, what are the rules? What are the do's and don'ts of reading Bhagavad Gita? Are there any rules like you need to follow or?
Very intelligent question. When did you receive this Gita?
A couple of months ago.
Where, in America?
Yeah. From here, I got it from ISKCON. My cousin was he lives in Bangalore, so he's associated with ISKCON Bangalore. He was here for a conference, so I met up with him. We came here for darshan, and that is where he knew that I always wanted one.
Okay. Okay, your cousin was smart. He was a real well-wisher. Thakur Bhakti Vinod in one of his prayers says, Ami bina bandhu vare kya cheta Maharaj. Except for me, you have no other friend. So your cousin is a real cousin. I'm not saying the others are not, but he's a real well-wisher. So the rules for reading. Good news is, you can read from anywhere. But better is, start from chapter 1 and proceed further. And read the book when you can be attentive. Just like with chanting, being attentive is important, even for reading. Sometimes people use these books as sleeping pills. They want to fall asleep, they keep the book in their Bhagavad Gita there, and then they fall asleep with the Bhagavad Gita on their chest. So that's also okay. But if you really want to benefit from Bhagavad Gita's knowledge, read it when you're attentive, just like when you used to read for your examinations. And then you'll understand it. And you won't understand everything by reading it the first time. So it has to be read, reread, keep reading it. We have a sannyasi in our movement. He's read the Gita 152 times. So, you agree? So read it attentively, and that will have more effect. And you will gradually see that Bhagavad Gita is answering all your questions, all your doubts. There's one book that answers every question. I've given the Bhagavad Gita to many prominent businessmen who were not even chanting, and told them to read one verse a day. And they have derived so much peace of mind by reading it. You read it every day. How many of you read the Bhagavad Gita every day? Only 2 or 3. That's not too good. Prabhupada used to say that Krishna is very pleased when he sees us reading and studying his book. Any more questions?
Hare Krishna. So, thank you, Maharaj, for coming to Seattle in your busy schedule. So, I was recently in ISKCON Silicon Valley, and then I saw a video of yours highlighting the importance of gifting Srimad Bhagavatam at Bhadra Purnima.
I did that 2 days ago.
Right. So, if you could do the same for the Seattle audience.
I would like to. I was planning on doing it tomorrow. I can do it now. So, anyone has the 12th canto of Bhagavatam? 12, 12, 13. You were in Silicon Valley 2 days ago?
Yes, Maharaj.
At the same time I was there.
I saw your recording. Vaisheshika Prabhu was highlighting your recording.
Okay. So if you have a Bhagavatam, it will become more effective when I read from the Bhagavatam. Canto 12, chapter 12, text 13. Chapter is entitled tomorrow morning. Okay, they got it. 12:30. The chapter is called Huh? 12, 13, 13. Okay. Attention please. Important announcement. Shortcut to go back to Godhead. Many times people say, are there any shortcuts in your movement? So we do have some shortcuts. Okay. If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. Repeat after me. If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. Purport. One should place Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne because it is the king of all literature. On the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, the full moon day incidentally is going to be this year on August 26th. September. I'm sorry. September 26th. On the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, the sun, which is compared to the king of literature, is present in the constellation Leo and looks at the rays on a thus one may worship Srimad Bhagavatam, Supreme Divine Literature. So it is said that if on the full moon day, in the month of Bhadra, one gives the Srimad Bhagavatam set as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. So which means, if all of you are sitting here, I can, looking at your faces, I can see most of you have Bhagavatam sets at home. How many of you have Bhagavatam sets at home? A new set. Not the 20-year-old edition. How many of you have the new Srimad Bhagavatam set at home? Okay. So if on Bhadra Purnima you give the Bhagavatam set as a gift to somebody, or give it as a gift to yourself. If you don't have it, give it as a gift to yourself. If you have a new set, then give it as a gift to somebody else. You will attain the supreme transcendental destination. What is that supreme transcendental destination? What is it? Back to Godhead. Shortcut to back to Godhead. So how many of you would like to do this? How much does that set cost? Okay. How many of you would like to do this? Is someone from the local temple recording all this? I'm just a tourist. Who is in charge of books here? So, can we have a show of hands? How many are ready to sponsor or take for themselves a Bhagavatam set on Bhadra Purnima Day, which is going to be September 26th? Raise your hands. So someone should record their name. What about the ladies? The ladies they don't want to go to the supreme destination. Anyone who wants, there's a new shortcut, just discovered. Just like the scientists are always inventing. Okay. So please do that. Anyone? So who is going to record? Are you from the local temple or are you from Silicon Valley? Why don't you make a note? So now let's be serious. How many of you are ready to sponsor a set either for yourself or for somebody else on Bhadra Purnima Day, which will be September 26th? Raise your hands high. Okay. And how many Matajis? I mean, the Bhagavatam sets are only, how much, $250? From you we make no profit. It's below our cost price. So, that's all of you will do it. So you'll order those sets, Prabhu? What's your name? You'll take it. So there were how many people who raised their hands? How many? Once more, please. So all these. 22. Let's reach 25. Three more people needed who didn't raise their hands earlier. Any more volunteers? One. Oh, here, 26. 27. Let's reach 30. 28. Okay. So please do it. Okay, any more questions? Okay. Thank you. Can somebody announce tomorrow morning I'll give a class? Tomorrow morning, I'm ready to give a class if devotees are ready to come. How many of you will be here for the class tomorrow morning? Okay. What time, 7:30 or 8? Tomorrow is Sunday. Why do we have it at 8 o'clock? I'll finish my puja. Is 8 o'clock okay? I'll come by 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock Bhagavatam class. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any more questions? Hare Krishna. Prabhu? Someone, you are giving Sunday first lecture.